Hey there, survivors. Thanks for tuning in to tonight's episode. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. It really helps me keep these stories coming. And while you're here, let me know in the comments where you're listening from. Now let's get started. Dawn never really arrives down here. Just the dim ache of fluorescent tubes that never turn off. The breath of the air scrubbers drones like a lullaby for the dead, and I lie on a thin mattress counting the seconds until duty drags me up. 45 minutes of solitude should feel like a gift, but the bunker's silence weighs more than sleep ever could. Then the klaxon cuts through the corridor, cruel and absolute. Red strobes wash the ceiling, a warning heartbeat for walls that stopped caring decades ago. On the intercom screen outside my door, words crawl by in a dull, unhurried march. Unscheduled detonation. Procedure S5. I pull on the same faded fatigues that never seem to dry completely and step into a passage that reeks of recycled breath and exhausted machinery. 60 feet of concrete above my head presses down like a permanent verdict. S5 is the scenario everyone treats as folklore. If it shows up, it means the world topside took a wound no bunker can mend. Control lies ahead, but Lieutenant Carter blocks the hatch. One hand clamps the metal frame, the other burrows inside a radiation sleeve as if hiding from the news. His knuckles shine ghost white. Flash at 0360, he mutters. Grid 31, the old storage igloos. His eyes don't quite focus on mine. Maybe they're stuck on whatever he just saw in the blast report. The impossible found a way in. It's already pacing the corridors with us. Storage, shorthand for the biomedical war reserve left over from cancelled projects in the 70s. The warheads are gone, but the pathogens remained, locked in cryo barrels sunk under concrete and lead. I glance at the dosimeter on Carter's chest. Its LCD shivers just below the first warning bracket. In his eyes, I read the question none of us wants to speak aloud. Did the blast crack the barrels? The main ops room bathes in emergency lighting. Two comtechs, Jenna Moore and Petty Officer Ruiz, scroll satellite feeds on side-by-side stations. Static floods half the screens. On the functioning channels, a dust column boils over the desert, hued rust orange by pre-dawn twilight. Jenna points out radial fractures in the ground glass. The crater glows faintly. That much makes sense. What does not make sense are the shapes moving inside the plume, silhouettes that march when physics says nothing living should. The backup generator drops, then surges. Fluorescent tubes flicker overhead, lending everything a stop-motion cadence. Captain Hollis clears his throat at the mic. Site Bravo is under S5 lockdown. All exterior hatches remain sealed. Radiation filtration to maximum. His calm edges on brittle. Civilian towns downwind are Mercury, Indian Springs, Pahrump. Meteorology projects east-southeast dispersion in 4 hours. A fresh line of data prints from a portable Geiger counter. Jenna slides it to me. Numbers spike beyond our drill matrices, but the radiation type is odd. Gamma, yes, but laced with biohazard markers from the sampler drones. She mutters, "Heat fused the barrels, aerosolized a virus we don't even have a name for." I remember the classified briefings. Operation Sundial. Recombinant smallpox anthrax hybrids, stored in cryo for theoretical deterrence. The lab promise was magnitude, 50 times mortality of base strains, if thawed correctly. The bomb's heat provided that thaw. Between reports, the intercom pops, then bleeds into a female voice on NOAA weather band. She repeats a phrase in monotone. Emergency alert. Biological outbreak after nuclear detonation. Evacuate to opposite wind vector immediately. The broadcast loops, ends in digital warble. NOAA towers sit outside our fence. Someone topside is alive long enough to hit transmit. Ruiz tries the federal EAS uplink. Nothing. He switches to civilian VHF. The Mercury volunteer station comes through, faint but intact. A man there counts vehicles leaving town. 3 trucks already turned around, he says. Drivers looked wrong. One walked after the engine died, even though flames were on his back. The mic drops, screams, snapping timber, a final burst of static. Captain Hollis orders the outer camera feeds. Our perimeter turrets swing in lazy circles. At feed 4, something lurches through the dust curtain. A technician from surface security, helmet half melted, suit ripped. He should be unconscious from dose, yet he staggers upright, eyes vacant. Another figure collides with him. Both tumble, rise again, keep moving. No sound, just relentless motion toward the hatch that leads to the freight lift. Hollis keys the internal address. Power down lift cars, weld secondary doors if hydraulics fail. We hear his order echo down the service shafts. Inside control dosimeters tick along. Radiation seeps no faster than the scrubbers can manage, but Jenna points to the biofilter readout. Particle size in the intake is submicron, perfect for lung exposure. If it's active, she says, we're breathing it every time the fans cycle. Hollis hesitates, then strips off his officer jacket, revealing a simple name tape. Caleb. Whatever's outside was human half an hour ago, he says. If we keep the fans running, we end up the same. I watch him flick the override. The air goes still, eerily still. No hum beneath the floor, no whisper through the vents. Temperature rises, condensation beads on steel panels. We have 6, maybe 7 hours before oxygen sensors drop us to blackout warnings. Ruiz leans over his console. Sir, if this bunker becomes a sealed tomb, recommend exfil before that happens. Where? Hollis asks. The question hovers between us like a drone grenade. Above ground sits fallout, infection, and an expanding ring of walking unknowns. Underground sits suffocation. Inertia breaks when the freight lift alarms whine. Someone, or something, has reached the outer cage. Cameras show 4 figures in protective gear, hands clawing at the metal. Bolts shear one by one. They don't push buttons, they pry, even when steel cuts through gloves and skin. Blood spatters, but they ignore it. Their movements lack frenzy, slow, deliberate, unstoppable. A sprinter zombie terrifies by speed. This new breed terrifies by refusal to stop. Ruiz reaches for the emergency demolition panel. 2 charges rigged to the shaft rails can drop the car into the crash pit. Hollis puts a hand on his wrist. If we blow it, shaft debris blocks our only ride up if we decide to leave. Ruiz's jaw tightens. He lowers his hand. We retreat from control to equipment bay 2. Corridors groan with distant impacts, metal buckling someplace above. Jenna unlocks a cage and hands me an M4 and 3 magazines. My last real qualification shoot was years ago, but muscle memory guides the chamber check. She slings a shotgun, pockets breaching shells. Bay 2 opens onto a maintenance crawl space leading to the ventilation stacks. If the infection rides the air, we need samples, and maybe, just maybe, a secondary exit. Lights fail for 7 breathless seconds, enough to feel the psychological vacuum of pitch darkness. They surge back. In that stutter between on and off, the freight lift siren stops. Either the intruders made it through, or the lift dropped. Carter calls from the crawler bay over handheld radio. Movement on section Delta stairs. His signal flakes in and out. Each burst delivers a new coordinate, closer every time. We converge on the Delta corridor. The man who rounds the corner wears a radiation hood, visor cracked. He limps, boot half burned away, foot bare. Mottled lesions crawl up his shin. Yet he keeps weight on it as if nerve endings broke first. No moan, no hiss. Only shallow breaths that whistle like punctured bellows. Stop, Hollis commands. The figure continues, arms slack but extended enough to catch balance if needed. At 10 meters, I see his eyes. Iris bleached milky white, capillaries blackened into spiderwebs. He opens his mouth. Mandible dislocates with a wet crack. Something mulches behind his teeth, as though ligament mass reorders itself. Hollis fires a single warning shot into the floor. The report slams against concrete walls. Echoes die. The figure doesn't react, not to noise nor powder smell. Only when the slug ricochets past his ankle and hits the wall to his left does he pivot, gaze following trajectory, not shooter. as if attracted to impact, not origin. Jenna whispers, "It tracks sound pressure." Hollis nods, gestures. We stay silent. He unhooks a spent cleaning rod from the tool bench, flicks it down the hall past the infected stranger. The rod clinks on metal grating behind. The intruder rotates, moves toward the new noise. We backtrack to auxiliary storage, shut the blast door, drop the manual bar. Our collective breath fogs the dim emergency lamp. Hollis lowers his voice. "Sound seekers, possibly vision degraded." Ruiz scans shelves, paint cans, solvent, old radiation suits. He finds a stack of expired M18 smoke grenades and a crate of road flares. If noise draws them, smoke could mask scatter or provide distractions. "Or cough us to death," Jenna mutters, though she pockets 2 grenades. We regroup at the central junction. Sensor log shows oxygen trending lower already. Sweating through fatigues, I picture carbon dioxide creeping like an invisible tide. The mental arithmetic is brutal. 1 infected breached, more will follow. Air quality sinks. No outside help. Hollis keys the speaker to full facility. "Site personnel, plan echo active. Gather load-bearing respirators, potassium iodide and small arms. Assemble at Junction 3 for potential surface exfil." Static replies, then a single voice of a young private from medical. "Sir, Dr. Klein locked isolation ward. Says anyone outside is contaminated. He's flooded the decon zone with Halon gas. I can't open the hatch." Hollis curses under his breath, soft but sharp. "Drag Klein out if you must. We need him topside." Footsteps overhead. Pipes clatter dust. The freight lift survivors, if still active, bypass the utility deck. I shoulder my weapon, safety off. We break into 3 pairs. Hollis and Jenna to secure the stairwell. Carter and Ruiz for medical. Me with Sergeant Allison to prep the surface hatch. Allison is old-school ordnance, calm as petrified wood, but I see perspiration in lines behind his ears. No one here trained for pathogen detonation inside nuclear fallout. We carry 2 oxygen cylinders, minimal medpacks, Geiger pens clipped to wrists. The approach to the hatch runs along a narrow service tunnel. Inside, emergency bulbs burned out years ago. We use chem lights, cracking them open, tossing them forward like stepping stones of pale green. Each puddle of glow reveals dust churned by recent passage, footprints half smeared, perhaps human, perhaps not. Halfway down, a shape emerges from an alcove. Jane Morris, comms intern, shoulders slumped. She steps forward slowly, as though half asleep. Allison raises his sidearm. I catch his sleeve. "Wait." Her lips move, no sound. She lifts a blistered hand, points behind us. Then she sags to her knees, body folding inward. From the gloom ahead comes soft shuffling, more feet than should fit the narrow tunnel. Allison whispers, "Back." We reverse step for step, dragging Morris. A low metallic groan rolls from the darkness, pipes buckling under weight maybe. Then the first infected appears in the chem light halo, radiation suit hanging in tatters, torso bubbling with lesions. It tilts its head, listening. The click of Allison's safety disengaging draws it. Behind it, more shadows pour from access doors, each drawn by the tiny sound. We set Morris gently, sprint. The corridor amplifies every footfall, each clang of boot heel. Infected surge, arms pinwheel, legs pumping with unnatural endurance. No hiss, no roar, just automatic pursuit, like iron filings to a magnet. At the junction, Hollis and Jenna slam the gate behind us. Steel bars rattle. Scores of hands smash against mesh, fingers splintering but never stopping. Hollis slides the pin. Echo protocol is now or never. Carter and Ruiz appear with Dr. Klein, restrained by cable ties at the wrists. Klein shouts about contamination, droplets of panic spraying, until Hollis orders him quiet. The clamour at the gate crescendos, a constant battering. We jog single file toward primary hatch. Sensors tick higher radiation, but within tolerable exposure. Jenna hands out half-face respirators, flimsy but better than bare air. She tapes filter seams, adds iodine tablets to canteens, forces us to swallow one each. Hollis keys the hydraulic. The hatch wheel hesitates, then turns. Desert pre-dawn light slants through, red overtones from suspended dust. The air carries sharpness of ozone, aftermath of fission. Far off, the crater plume looms, sun rimming it gold like a terrible monument. On the apron outside the hatch lies a stack of cargo containers, blast-tossed. Beyond, the parking yard where transport APCs rest. One smolders, another idles, engine still healthy, maybe remote started by someone's dying hand. We step outside. Radiation pens chirp but remain amber. Behind us, a scream, ragged steel shrieking inside tunnel. The mesh gate gives. We sprint. Allison and Ruiz haul Klein between them. Jenna tosses an M18 smoke into the hatch mouth. Grey cloud belches back, filling the entryway. The infected hesitate inside, swirl, silhouettes dancing. We reach the APC, 8-seater Cougar MRAP, keys still in. I climb to turret hatch, scanning perimeter. South, toward Mercury Highway. Dust trails shimmer, maybe vehicles fleeing, maybe infected columns. Hollis guns the engine. Over intercom he says, "Destination, Indian Springs Clinic. They have shielding, oxygen, maybe comms." He pauses, assuming it still stands. As we roll out, plume ash drifts like black snow. Each flake could carry the virus. Wiper blades streak brown residue across armored glass. The onboard dosimeter spikes artlessly, leveling just below warning. An infected technician stumbles from behind a forklift. He locks on engine rumble, sprints unnaturally fast, throwing shoulder against side armor with dull thud. Others follow, faces blistered, eyes cataracted, yet feet sure. Hollis hits throttle, tires grind gravel. The last thing I see before the bunker dips behind a rise is smoke pouring from its mouth, silhouettes swaying in grey fog, reaching. Some kneel, paw ground where our tire tracks end, as if sound alone is not enough. They can taste vibration in earth. We crest the ridge. Sunrise ignites the desert floor where blast glass mirrors sky. I smell burnt sage, melted polymer, something sweet, decay beginning too soon. In the cup holder by my knee sits the facility's emergency radio. I lift handset, press transmit. Mayday, Site Bravo convoy departing. Biological outbreak after nuclear event. Infection vector airborne, sound-triggered host response. Any station copy? Static. Then faint, a woman's voice. Copy. This is Mercy Air Control at Nellis. Wind shifting. Fallout heading north by northeast. Keep south of Highway 95. Watch for units moving without coordination. Her channel floods with interference, trailing off into a single sustained tone. I release key. Jenna leans forward. Which way is 95? Other side of the dry lake. Hollis nudges wheel east. We drive. No one speaks. Each small rattle in the cabin means recalculation. Sound invites them. Even now, I picture shape after shape cresting distant ridges, drawn by the diesel engine, endless parade of what used to be colleagues. Somewhere behind, the screamers find new noise to follow. Their chorus sweeps the valley, muffled by wind yet unmistakable, a rising siren that promises they are never far, never tired, never rushed, because time belongs to them now. I glance at the fuel gauge. Half. Enough to reach Indian Springs, maybe Las Vegas. Farther if roads stay clear. But roads never stay clear in stories like this, and I wonder if the highways themselves have become arteries for infection, carrying silence-hungry bodies toward every sound in America. Hollis taps the dash. Two things keep us alive, he says, voice low. Quiet and distance. He rolls the engine back to idle, coasts down slope. RPM drops to near silence, just gravel crunch and wind. We pass a cluster of Joshua trees, branches charred. Out beyond them stands a figure in a facility jumpsuit, motionless, head tilted. It watches the truck's rumble fade, but does not give chase. When sound diminishes enough, it turns away, continuing in the direction of some earlier noise we cannot hear. None of us comment. Words feel like luxuries, too loud, too unnecessary. Ahead, Sunrise reveals the outline of Creech Air Force Base's north fence, radar domes against salmon sky. Perhaps refuge, perhaps trap. Hollis slows, scanning for breach in razor wire. I switch the radio to local EMS channel. A male voice counts coordinates for provisional aid station at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. He mentions doctors, water, tents. Then he adds, "Keep engines off 300 yards out. Approach on foot only. Shambling infected ignore motionless bodies. Sound draws them." His advice makes sense, yet his broadcast hum cycles faster, then abruptly cuts. Another channel goes silent. Radio feels more like obituary column now, each voice a candle blown out mid-sentence. We roll near Creech side gate and stop behind a wrecked security pickup. Hood bent, windscreen spidered. Blood smears the inside, but no driver. Ruiz suggests siphoning fuel. Hollis agrees, though the risk of noise is high. Jenna offers to stand watch with shotgun. The sun climbs. Every metal surface heats. Sweat gathers under respirator seals, slides down my neck. I step from cab, keeping boots light on gravel. Wind gust whips dust against my goggles. Silence stretches. Even wildlife seems absent. Ruiz drops hose into the Cougar's tank, begins suction. First cough of fuel echoes like a firecracker. We freeze. 30 yards away, a hangar door scrapes open, hinge broken. A single infected airman limps out, hearing the noise. Behind him, dark shapes crowd the hangar interior, stacked like cordwood soldiers waiting for reveille. I hiss. Enough fuel. Ruiz clamps hose, slides into cab. Jenna racks shotgun, but Hollis waves her down. Sound, he mouths. The airman increases pace. One arm drags, torn tendons grinding inside sleeve. His boot sole peels from molten tarmac. Yet each foot placement is precise, steady, no stumbling slack-jaw cliché. Intelligence may be dim, but purpose is pure. Hollis slips the transmission into neutral, breathes long through nose, twists key. Engine coughs but doesn't roar. Diesel knock subdued. Airman diverts left, hunting new noise. Hollis feathers accelerator barely enough to move. Transmission whines. Airman pivots again. Noise equals magnet. Behind him, dozens of silhouettes emerge from hangar, all turning as one toward the low mechanical hum. Hollis mutters, "Forget stealth." Slams pedal. Engine roars. Cougar lurches. Infections break into sprint, forming a ragged wave. We gain speed, but their initial distance is short. The gate looms. Hollis rams through, chain link folding under bumper. We bounce onto desert hardpan, leaving fence curling behind. In mirrors, infected stream through gap, kicking dust, but sprint degenerates into limp as terrain worsens. At 200 yards, their chase falters. At 400, they stop, standing, listening to receding roar until sound fades below threshold. Then they scatter toward other noises we cannot hear. We drive until the base shrinks into mirage. Hollis cuts engine. Stillness falls like a blanket. Jenna finally breathes a word. Part 1 of the desert. I check dosimeter. Radiation counts drop here, fallout plume behind us. Air is thin but breathable. Infection risk unknown. Beneath mask, my lips taste of iodine and diesel. I thumb the recorder on my lap, speak softly. This is Site Bravo Survivor Convoy. Unknown status. Biological outbreak follows nuclear detonation. Infecteds locate by sound. Appear insensitive to pain, radiation. We head south, searching for shelter. If you hear this, keep silent, keep distance, keep moving. Red light on recorder blinks, steady metronome. It is the only rhythm I trust now. Somewhere to the east, thunder rolls, no clouds. Could be secondary detonations, could be collapsing infrastructure, could be something else entirely. The desert offers no explanation. Hollis starts engine again, but eases forward at barely walking pace, trading speed for quiet. Part of me wants the roar of throttle, the illusion of outrunning disaster. Part of me knows the disaster is a tide that hears engines like drums. So we crawl through Nevada sunrise, 7 souls in a steel shell, flanked by shadows that listen. drawn to every careless rattle of gear, every cough stifled behind a mask. Silence is our compass now, guiding us deeper into a world that no longer needs voices to tell its story. Hollis inches the Cougar down the cracked service road, engine idling just high enough to keep momentum. The speedometer hovers at 9 miles per hour. Gravel grinds beneath the tires, an unavoidable whisper, but softer than the growl of full throttle. We pass low ridges dotted with creosote and shattered glass from past weapons tests. Every mile places another layer of dust on the windshield, another layer of silence on our nerves. The thunder to the east repeats, single, heavy, far off. I picture distant transformers blowing one by one, chain lighting across an empty grid, or artillery, or tanks cooking off in their own ammo. We cannot verify. The radio gives only thin static where regional news once lived. Jenna spreads the paper highway atlas across her knees. Her finger traces a pencil line from Creech to Indian Springs, then south toward Las Vegas. 25 miles, she murmurs. Clinic is 5 inside town. Water tower here might give a vantage. She keeps her tone low, each syllable feather light. Ruiz checks the fuel gauge. A quarter shaved from full since we left the bunker. He taps the glass with a knuckle, rhythm brief, cautious. We should siphon again if we spot anything with a tank. Even his whisper sounds loud inside the armored hull. Dr. Klein huddles on the rear bench, wrists zip-tied to a handrail. Sweat saturates his lab coat collar. He whispers mostly to himself, phrases about viral half-life under UV exposure, aerosol drift projections, lethal dose thresholds. Hollis lets him mutter. Information, even rattled information, is potential leverage against the unknown. The road bends through a shallow arroyo, sun now high enough to bleach color from the desert, turning everything bone white. Ahead, a row of civilian sedans blocks the pavement, doors flung wide. One still idles, exhaust puffing weakly. We stop 100 feet short. Hollis kills the engine. The sudden quiet feels swollen, like air before a detonation. Jenna shoulders her shotgun. I take the M4. Ruiz and Allison fan out left and right, revolvers drawn. We move slow, bootfalls deliberate. Each car smells of spilled gasoline, dry upholstery, something iron-rich drying on glass. No wind here. Sage lies motionless. We reach the idling car. Key still in ignition. Radio tuned to FM 97. Nothing broadcasts. The passenger door window wears a spiderweb of cracks around a single bullet hole. Brown smear trailing to the seatbelt buckle. Whoever sat here bled fast, then left, or was dragged. I step back, scan the ridge lines. Nothing atop them, yet the thunder repeats closer. Different now. A layered boom followed by a muffled collapse, as if concrete silos drop into themselves. Hollis gestures. Time to move. Ruiz siphons quickly, 2 gallons into a jerrycan. The suction gurgle echoes off the arroyo walls. We wince at each slurp. Mid-transfer, Allison's head snaps toward the northern berm. We follow his gaze. A shape stands on the crest, backlit. Former soldier, maybe. Uniform sleeves in tatters. Its posture is wrong. Spine arched too far. Neck craned. It stays still until the gurgle of fuel lines sputters. Then it steps downhill, slow but steady. Another figure crests beside it, then a third. Wrap it, Hollis whispers. Ruiz clamps the hose, hands me the can. We retreat to the Cougar, careful not to jostle metal. 5 shapes now, all pacing to the rhythm of that last gulping cough. Distance closes. Their feet slide loose stones yet never trip. Doors seal. Hollis starts engine on lowest idle possible. Even muffled, the diesel note draws the creatures faster. 2 break into runs, faster than standard sprint, joints loose like hinges without pins. Their arms pendulum out for balance. They close space swiftly. Hollis floors it. Tires spit gravel. The first sprinter collides with the tailgate, rebounds, rolls, rises, even with joints bent unnatural. The second misses, claws empty air. In mirrors they regain pursuit until engine noise fades at 200 yards. They stop, pivot left, continue in that new direction, likely towards some other stimulus. We reach Indian Springs 30 minutes later. The town appears abandoned. Sand drifts over parking lots. A distant light flashes irregularly atop the Mercy Flight helipad. Hollis coasts to the curb opposite the clinic. Exterior doors hang crooked. A neon pharmacy sign flickers inside, steady pulse like a distressed heartbeat. Broken glass litters the entrance, no motion. Masks on, we dismount. The air smells of disinfectant and copper. Inside, fluorescent tubes strobing create the illusion of movement. Each flicker repaints shadows on reception walls. Cash drawers stand open. Coins litter linoleum. Wheelchair overturned, IV bag split, saline dried into snail trails. From behind the triage curtain comes a wet scrape. Hollis signals. We angle firearms. Jenna lifts the edge with her foot. A nurse crouches beside a gurney, face hidden by hair. She rocks gently. The gurney's occupant, a child no older than 9, lies still, gauze wrapped around a bite on her shoulder. No breathe motion. The nurse's hands rhythmically pat the small chest in silent CPR gone on too long. Hollis whispers, "Ma'am." The nurse halts. Her head turns in increments, 45 degrees 90, eyes like tarnished silver patches. She rises, movements fluid yet detached. As she does, the child's body rolls, slides to the floor with a dull slap. No reaction from either. She steps toward Hollis, bare feet whispering across tiles. Gun barrels trace her slow advance. Holster straps creak, leather on leather. The noise curves her path toward Allison, who braced the door behind us. She ignores Jenna, me, everyone else, fixated on the faint squeak of Allison's boot edge against the aluminum threshold. Hollis lowers his rifle muzzle an inch. Silent order. Conserve ammo. Use cold steel. Allison inhales, adjusts weight. The squeak repeats louder. The nurse quickens. Hollis tosses a pen light toward reception. It clatters off a steel cabinet. The nurse's head whips, whole body following. She drifts that way, arms slightly raised. We slip past toward the supply wing. Klein shuffles with us, hands bound. He mutters numbers, viral generations, replication intervals. Jenna shushes him. Pharmacy storage lies behind a keypad door hanging off one hinge. Shelves ravaged but not empty. We collect broad-spectrum antibiotics, bandages, saline, sealed MRE bars from the staff kitchen. Jenna locates a case of lithium coin batteries, currency for devices that might outlive grid power. Overhead, something crashes, likely the nurse meeting the cabinet. Sound brews a storm of motion in distant hallways. Soft patter of feet, knock of objects overturned. Tension climbs like mercury. We funnel back towards exit. Behind us, a door bangs open. A second wave of infected enters triage, orderlies. 2 patients still in gowns, one wearing a neck brace. Their collective footsteps sink to a jagged cadence, guided by the residual metallic rattle of our scavenging. No screeches, no vocal cords utilized, only purposeful acceleration. At the threshold, Jenna fires a single shotgun blast into the linoleum near reception desk. Flooring shards jump, echo sharp. Infected pivot away, chasing the sonic burst. We bolt through the sliding doors, sprint across lot. Cougar engine turns on first crank. Hollis guns out. Inside mirror, infected roam the lot, heads swiveling. They delve into parked cars, triggered by ticking metal cooling under sun. One climbs atop the helipad stairs, eyes scanning horizon for biggest vibration. We put 3 miles between us and Indian Springs before Hollis eases speed. He speaks without turning. Clinic compromised, supplies gained, fuel half. Radio crackles, same woman from Nellis, her signal gutters. Multiple secondary flashes near Yucca Mountain. Recommend all units relocate south of Sloan. Repeat Sloan. Static devours rest. Hollis points to map. Sloan's 40 minutes on freeway. Ruiz reminds us, the infected track engines. Hollis nods, weighs risks. Freeway north of Vegas may shelter convoys. Noise density might swamp tracking. We vote silently by who reloads magazines and who stares at the horizon. Consensus is forward, Highway 95 southbound shows wreck clusters every mile, rear-end collisions frozen mid-escape. We weave shoulder to median, engine revs echoing across empty desert basin. For each rev, my mind draws lines of infected converging from unseen arroyos, like pieces on a board moving to the drum. Past Corn Creek, thunder returns, a deeper concussion. Black stem of smoke rises behind distant ridgelines. Hollis mutters, ammo dump. Yet the column's base colors shift green, blue, chemical hues typical of storage depots igniting. We crest overpass where freeway merges with Route 157. Below, a school bus lies jackknifed. Around it, bodies. Some rise at our engine noise. Middle-aged man in security polo, teenage girl in varsity jacket. Their movement slower, joints stiff. Perhaps shamblers. Radiation dosage higher here, limiting speed. Hollis accelerates up incline, but a concrete barrier blocks lane. He brakes. Ruiz hops out, drags plastic traffic cone to wedge door open, so the infected hearing gravel shift, chase cone instead of cab. While Ruiz works, a screamer emerges from bus rear, small woman in EMT uniform. She inhales sharply, then expels a shrill keening note like metal tearing. We flinch. Sound needles eardrums. Hollis slams door, windows vibrate. The shamblers pivot toward the screamer, confusion momentary, until louder diesel retort overrides. They shift focus back to us. The screamer drops jaw wider than normal range, mandible unhinged. Her call modulates, almost a siren. From the freeway shoulders, sprinters answer, vaulting guardrails. Jenna fires through turret hatch, controlled bursts at asphalt near pursuers. Noise misdirection. Several sprinters veer off, chasing bullet impacts into sage. Others close. Ruiz leaps into cab. Hollis punches throttle. The Cougar clears edge of barrier, hits open lane, roars south. Screamer's cry fades, but persists for full minute, echoing off valley walls. In mirrors, swarm forms around that sound source, leaving us. We pass signs for Las Vegas city limits. Skyline broils under heat distortion. Smoke columns cluster near Nellis flight line, others near Sunrise Mountain. The strip stands ghostly, casino marquees dark. Hollis chooses 215 bypass to skirt dense structures. The freeway here is clear, windblown. Airwaves carry new voice, male, calm. Civilian broadcast relay Sierra calling any convoy. Safe refuge at Sloan Rock Quarry. Approach slow, no engine after half mile. We screen for infection. Provide water, fuel, limited medical. We trade glances. Jenna thumbs transmit. Keeps voice just above squelch. Sierra, convoy from Site Bravo en route, ETA 20. She releases. Response. Copy. Turn west at Sloan exit. Look for orange flare marker. We ditch freeway near Henderson, roll frontage road. Hollis kills engine at half-mile mark. Heat shimmers above asphalt. We dismount. Push the Cougar by hand, shackled to the steering column. Weight monumental, but slight downward grade assists. Each scuff of boot on pavement grates my nerves. Ahead, an orange flare burns atop a limestone mound. Several figures wave cloth, blue tarps as signal. We push closer until voices carry, then drop tailgate. A woman in construction vest greets, sidearm holstered but grip loose. Engines draw them, she says before introductions. Noise discipline keeps this place quiet. The quarry bowl houses 24 survivors. Semi-trailers ring interior, forming barricade. Canvas awnings stretch between shading supplies. A diesel generator sits under silenced box. Thick foam walls, exhaust routed through deep trench to baffle rumble. Smart engineering. They assign us a trench slot for the Cougar, draping a camouflage net over the hood. As we roll down the ramp, Klein studies the limestone walls, likely calculating spore rates. Hollis releases his wrist ties but warns, contribute science, not sabotage. Miss Randall, an elderly geologist, offers water filtered from the quarry sump. She says no contagion showed in samples, but warns to avoid vapor pockets after sunset. Fallout sinks with the night air. Jenna and Ruiz trade our antibiotics for fuel, respirator canisters, and 2 suppressed .22 rifles. At the operations tent, Gus Mercer, running broadcast relay Sierra, scribbles locations from faint survivor reports. A girl's voice crackles through static. A convoy near Halloran Springs disabled, EMP or high-altitude nuke suspected. Dinner comes from sterno-warmed cans. Muzzled dogs and red LEDs line the quarry. Out on the highway the world stands dark under a cold silver moon. I volunteer for first watch. Hollis climbs beside me. The wind carries distant crashes, maybe buildings giving way, then nothing for long stretches. He mutters, "Containment lines are gone." By sunrise, infection crosses states. He thumbs Klein's frantic notes. Viral mutation, sound-replacing site. Cities will dissolve the moment alarms wail, he says. Below, the dogs stiffen, staring northwest. Highway silhouettes, 6 figures jogging. Cadence unnatural. Hollis signals the ground team. The generator shuts off, plunging the quarry into darkness. We ready suppressed rifles. Through night vision, infected advance, half-crouched, listening. First shot folds one. A second drops fast. The rest scatter briefly, chasing the echo of bullet strikes into the desert night. Silence returns. Dogs settle. Generator stays off until an hour later when wind shifts east. The basin breathes uneasy relief. Near dawn, I sit on tailgate, scribbling log entry under red lens. Day 1 after detonation. Infection hitchhikes on sound, persists in irradiated zones. Behavioral variants. Sprinters with joint laxity. Shamblers slowed by exposure. Screamers acting as beacons. I pause. How many variants tomorrow? How many by next week? Generators purr awake. Breakfast ration distribution begins. Children permitted to speak in whispers now that machinery cloaks soft voices. Life compresses into these negotiated decibels. Klein approaches, face haggard. He describes a crude test. Placed battery-powered metronome 50 yards from quarry with needle-tapping woodblock. After 20 minutes, 3 infected emerged from darkness, turned circles around device until sunrise, then collapsed. Exhaustion or photic response. He theorizes the virus burns through glucose without circadian regulation. Host crashes when body can't feed demand. Sunlight stress may accelerate metabolic spiral. Hollis listens, brow furrowed. Exploit that? Possibly, Klein says. Prolonged sound decoys could herd them. Floodlights at dawn to finish off. He sketches patterns. Speaker towers on flatbeds broadcasting irregular bangs, luring hordes toward pre-staged kill zones. Ideas bigger than our quarry, but seeds matter. Ruiz jogs over, radio in hand. Mercer got new packet. FEMA mobile unit setting up at Gene Dry Lakebed. They're asking survivors to converge, silence optional since they deployed sonic suppression rigs. Jenna arches brow. Sonic suppression? Mercer explains. Speakers emitting broad-spectrum white noise at high amplitude. Masking environments so infected can't isolate targets. Theory fresh, risk high, but hope is a currency we spend easily. The Quarry Council meets. Debate weighs travel hazards against dwindling medical stock. Kids need antibiotics we carry. Elders need stable power for oxygen concentrators. FEMA camp promises both. Decision forms, convoy at dusk. Engines dead until halfway, then simultaneous start to create one surge rather than dribbled noise. Hollis volunteers our cougar as lead. Jenna smiles wryly. Back to highway drums. I climb cab ladder, glance northwest. Dust plume rises low, trail of migrating infected. They move like ants, line curving toward some distant clatter of civilization. Against horizon, sunrise blushes red-gold through fallout haze. Light reveals shapes along ridges, scores, maybe hundreds, silhouettes drifting after faint echoes we cannot hear. Part of me craves throttle again, pretending speed equals safety. Part of me knows the tide grows with every siren, every generator, every desperate voice that slices silence. Yet hope requires motion. We aim south, engines quiet for now, hearts louder than we dare admit, steering into the thinnest margin between noise and need. Convoy staging begins an hour before dusk. The sky over Sloan Quarry glows apricot, mottled by high ash that never quite settles. 2 flat-front U-Hauls, 3 battered pickups, our Cougar MRAP, and a pair of motorcycles line the limestone ramp. Every vehicle idles for a single minute, fuel pumps primed, then shuts down in unison. After that first rumble fades, the silence feels like a held breath that no one wants to exhale. Gus Mercer distributes frequency tags, strips of aluminum foil tuned to resonate at exactly 4 kHz when struck. He explains the plan in hushed syllables. If a driver has to peel off, he slaps the tag against a fender. Ping loud enough to pull sprinting infected off the main column. 1 sound sacrifice to save the whole. The idea pains him. It is also the only idea that fits the math. Dr. Klein loads a cooler of serum samples into the Cougar. His makeshift antigen test, still unproven, requires cold chain. Jenna hoses the radiator with quarry water to disguise engine heat. Hollis marks each windshield with chalk, JS01 through JS07, Gene South vehicle order. Children ride in the middle U-Haul, windows plated with sheet steel bolted from the quarry shop. 1 small boy clutches a cracked Game Boy that no longer powers on. He moves the buttons anyway, phantom comfort, silent. Night approaches on padded feet. Wind direction holds steady out of the northwest. Fallout plume drifts away. We push the Cougar to the top of the ramp. Hollis checks luminous compass. Course 210 true. Gene lies 26 miles. He whispers, engines at marker 2. Until then, gravity. Jenna cracks a box of glow sticks, hands 1 to each driver. Green means all clear, red means mechanical halt, blue means medical. Communication without radios, sound discipline first. The line rolls, gentle slope carrying 4 tons of armored steel. Steering unpowered feels like wrestling a sleeping bear, but motion stays almost noiseless. Tires hush over asphalt. Other vehicles follow, brake lights disconnected. Headlamps remain dark, only moonlight paints the procession. North of Sloan exit, we crest a ridge. Below, Interstate 15 sprawls wide and empty, 6 lanes washed silver. Hollis coasts onto shoulder, barely a murmur. We scan both horizons. Las Vegas, 20 miles behind us, glitters with scattered grid islands. Pockets where emergency turbines still feed casino towers. Each glowing block hums with diesel and fear, drawing infected like a beacon. Ahead, darkness reigns. Green sticks wave, proceed. For the next 3 miles, the convoy drifts downhill. Engines silent, only whisper of tires and soft creak of cargo straps. Thunder still rumbles far east, but the rhythm has changed. It feels like sympathetic tremors from structures collapsing, not fresh detonations. Hard to tell anymore. Markers loom, a vandalized milepost lying in the median, 2 mangled sedans forming a choke. Hollis brakes, Cougar shudders. He pedals twice more to nudge us into flat ground. Distance to Gene, 14 miles. Time to wake engines. He counts down with fingers in the air. 3, 2, 1. Ignition bursts erupt together. 7 throaty growls. Even muffled, the combined note sweeps across open desert like a searchlight of sound. Hollis slams transmission into drive. Convoy surges. Within 20 seconds, we hit 40 miles per hour. No faster to keep pace with the U-Hauls. Radios remain off. Instead, Jenna pops hatch and scans rear with NV goggles. Twin motorbikes weave flank patrol, throttles feathered mid-range to avoid backfire. 5 minutes in, Ruiz wraps ceiling, shapes at 6 o'clock. I glance through armored slits. Behind the last pickup, 3 infected sprint, distance closing. Each wears civilian clothes half fused to skin. One seems to glide stride too long, joints unhinged from normal geometry. They must have heard the mass engine start. Allison climbs into turret ring with suppressed 22. Hollis slants Cougar across lanes, letting pickups slip ahead. We become rear guard. First round pops shoulder of lead sprinter. It stumbles, but second sprinter leaps over, runs on. Allison curses under breath but no harder. Even frustration must stay quiet. Ruiz unpockets a foil tag. taps barrel lightly. Ping. The note carries. A clear, pure bell tone. Sprinters veer as one toward the sound. Allison throws tag onto pavement. It skitters, rings again. Infected dive after it, rolling across gravel but returning instantly to feet. We accelerate away. Tag strategy buys 30, maybe 40 seconds. Enough. The convoy bunches near Gene exit. High beams flash from rock quarry half-mile west. 2 brilliant arcs, then darkness. The coded welcome. Hollis steers off interstate onto frontage. Dust plume kicks high, no point hiding now. Quarry entrance is an old gravel ramp guarded by stacked shipping containers painted matte tan. Someone whistles a single-note call as each vehicle passes. Guards with suppressed MP5S wave us inward, palms down. Kill engines. We comply in chorus. Sudden quiet slams eardrums. Yellow work lights bloom inside container wall. Angled downward into pit so rays will not betray position. Dozens of survivors mill, maybe 90 souls. Tents line quarry floor like drab carnival. Cables snaking toward a flatbed stacked with speakers the size of refrigerators. Sonic suppression rigs. A woman in Air Force fatigues steps up. Captain Elise Barrow, FEMA liaison. She greets Hollis with a handshake firm but silent. Her throat sports a band of medical tape with a note scrawled, "Whisper only." She leads us to briefing under canvas. There, a marine generator idles inside a foam kennel. On its roof sits a square plate with metal prongs and transducers. She explains by writing on a greaseboard. White noise curtain, 2022 kHz. Volume low enough for humans, high for infected. Masks our acoustic signature. They run it 2 hours on, 1 hour off to prevent habituation. She circles a spot on map. Baker, Barstow corridor offline. Massive swarms. Another circle around Vegas. Sound vortex. City lost. She then points south to Prim and Nipton. Clear for now. Long-term refuge at Fort Irwin if power holds. Her eyes search hours for commitment. Dr. Klein asks for lab space. Barrow nods toward a refrigerated trailer. Blood chemistry station, borrowed from mobile hospital. He hurries off with Jenna. Hollis offers Cougar as perimeter scout. Barrow writes, "The more rolling steel, the more resupply we can run between Gene and Sandy Valley farms. Those farms feed both noise curtain rigs and bellies. Night watch commences." I join perimeter 2 at Quarry Rim, station opposite speaker banks. Below, rigs cycle on, a soft hiss like ocean surf. At first my ears strain to pick pattern, then the sound becomes ambient, dissolving into brainstem. For infected, Barrow claims, it is blinding glare. Past midnight, the motorcycle scouts return, engines sputtering before cut. They met a pocket of sprinting infected near Goodsprings. 20 bodies traveling south by the light of a roadside billboard generator gone rogue. The infected shredded canvas, then circled generator until gas ran dry. Scouts dispatched 2 with crossbows, the rest wandered off to distant truck horn echoes. Captain Barrow orders billboard grid killed at dawn. Quiet must expand, not shrink. Power sabotage becomes survival tactic. Inside medical trailer, Klein runs swabs under field microscope. I hover. He shows slides, viral particles fluorescing around cochlear nerves, clustering like night-blooming blossoms. He taps note, neurotropic. Repurposes hearing first, then new slide. Sample taken from nurse we saw. Washed tissue indicates the virus also coats skeletal muscle with enzyme that reduces lactic acid burnout. Marathon monsters, Jenna murmurs. Klein grimly agrees. He sketches antidote vector, sound bombs, decoys that will shepherd hordes toward pre-targeted kill zones, followed by ultraviolet floodlight arrays at sunup, frying virus in surface tissue until hosts collapse. Theory grand, resources nil. Still, a plan seeds hope. At first grey of dawn, a lookout whistles soft alarm. West Ridge, silhouettes. Through binoculars I count 40, 50. They advance in ragged line, many sprinting until others catch echo and converge, massing like iron filings again. White noise rigs remain active, but volume stays constant. Infected keep coming. Barrow signals crew, they dial frequency sweep. Speakers shift pitch, up then down. sculpting valleys of destructive interference. The sweeping drone tickles molars. On ridge, infected falter. Some cover ears, alien gesture. Others stop, pivot south, confused. Yet a knot presses forward, perhaps those with degraded hearing, or those closest to quarry generator hum. Barrow scribbles, if they breach perimeter, full burn. She nods at diesel pump feeding flamethrower rig jury built from weed torches and aviation fuel. The thing stinks even idle. Hollis asks permission to take Cougar, lay remote noisemakers along ridge to redirect flow. She grants with two-finger wave. Jenna, Ruiz and I load bed with battery boomboxes scrounged from trucks, each wired to nail gun cartridges for quick pop. We roll up ramp, keeping engine low. At 200 yards we stop, deploy first decoy, boombox set to blast static once we pull safety pin. Ruiz yanks, device hisses, then belches random staccato pops. Infected closest snapheads, dart for new sound. We retreat, leapfrog with second decoy, this time playing recorded car alarm. Its yowl shakes ridge, infected frenzy, some colliding, toppling each other. Those still homing on generator hum now outnumbered by lure chasers. A sprinter veers, halves distance to us fast. Jenna fires suppressed round, hit to knee. It tumbles, tries to rise, but ligaments flail. She fires again. Cervical hit drops it silently. Third decoy sits on boulder overlooking wash where sound should tunnel. Jenna's remote detonator crackles but static abrupt, no playback. She curses softly. Battery dead. That means manual placement. I volunteer. Hollis grunts assent. I sprint 30 yards, set device, smack lid. Car horn blares, loud. Infected swivel as one. I sprint back. Every footfall slaps dust. Each slap a radio beacon to those nearest. The first pursuer leaps gully, arms flailing. 20 yards. 15. Close enough to smell burned fabric. Jenna pops window, waves handgun. I wave her down. Shot inside this sonic chaos might not redirect enough. Instead, I snatch foil tag, strike mirror. Ping. Pure note arcs. Pursuer hesitates, adjusts trajectory mid-stride chasing the ping past our vehicle. Others follow. Seconds by life. We mount Cougar, blast full throttle down slope. Now sound surplus safe because infected cluster behind decoys. Back inside quarry, Barrow's team winds rigs down to half volume, conserving diesel. Ridge watchers confirm dispersion. Fewer than 10 linger, wandering circles where decoy static still repeats. Silence, carefully modulated, wins this battle. Relief ripples but never fully blooms. We gather under canopy, supplies thin. Sonic rigs eat fuel faster than deliveries arrive. Farms south can barter produce but lack diesel. Captain proposes next move. Relocate to Mojave solar plant near Prim. Massive battery banks, potential silent power. But route crosses Ivanpah Valley. Recent aerial shows black rivers of infected streaming toward railway echoes. Debate heavy until Klein interrupts. He holds syringe filled with pale amber. Prototype, he whispers, vocal cords raw. Blocks viral binding in cochlea, early stage only. He jabbed mouse models but data small. Barrow raises brows. Cure talk feels like fiction now. Klein explains using old anthrax antitoxin segments, carried in freezer aboard lab truck. Cold chain stable thanks to quarry. He needs volunteers, those potentially exposed yet asymptomatic. Jenna steps forward first, then one of the motorcycle scouts. Injections proceed under UV lamp. We wait. An hour passes. No fever, no lesion onset. Too soon? Or success? Hard to say. We watch for subtle changes. Hearing acuity, balance drift. Nothing obvious. Evening of day 2 settles. Sky glares orange. Sun behind veils of dust. Hollis, Barrow and Quarry Council finalize plan. At 0400, we break camp. Engines in sync. Drive column south past Prim using rig truck loaded with speakers blasting decoy west, away from road. Another rig to follow convoy emitting constant white noise low enough for us, high enough to cloak. We sleep in shifts. I take last watch. Dawn star Venus glitters, one eye overworld in ruin. Dogs lying near fuel drums perk heads once, East wind, maybe. I place hand on nearest muzzle. She calms. 0400 arrives quiet. We muster. Children sleepy but obedient. Engines light simultaneously. Sonic truck leads, its diesel at half muffle. Speakers roar low-frequency pulse like a foghorn heard through concrete. Infected find it intolerable but directional. We roll south. Ridge silhouettes ripple with figures sprinting parallel, kept at bay by raw cone. They resemble spectators in apocalyptic marathon, racing noise they cannot reach. 15 miles glide under tires. First sun tip paints dangerous gold across Ivanpah Dry Lake. Mirrors flash. Ahead, solar tower fields shine. Thousands of heliostats aligned but power off. Silent wings of desert. We breach access road. Speaker truck parks. Shifts tone upward. New lure for infected tails. Convoy angles west to maintenance boneyard ringed by cinder block walls. Gates unchained by prior crews. We enter. Engines finally cut. Inside, battery inverters stand 2 stories, self-contained, no combustion. Technicians from quarry swarm to tap cables. Within 20 minutes, lights in yard glow, all solar-sourced, silent. Relief exhales. Children laugh softly, first real burst of sound from lungs not yet scarred. Barrow authorizes quick perimeter trip to pull feedstock. Any panels shattered, reflective glass for heliostat arrays. Jenna leads salvage team, I join. We exit West Gate. Desert quiet again, hush so absolute ears ring. Salvage minutes pass. Then, distant crunch. I lift binoculars. North, at Dry Lake edge, columns of infected approach, countless. Dust clouds like smoke from living wildfire. They chase no engine, no siren. They simply migrate, pulled by faint chorus of convoy echoes funneling between mountain flanks. Barrow calculates we have 30 minutes before first contact. She orders white noise rig powered by solar banks. Technicians reroute inverters. Speakers ignite. Steady waterfall hiss at 100 dB focused north. Sound curtain sways desert air. Infected lines hit invisible wall. Waver. Some pivot east, others west, seeking edges. A few push through, ears bleeding dark streaks, but majority veer. We watch them swirl along periphery, herded toward nothing. For 70 minutes, standoff holds. Diesel trucks reappear on ridge, another convoy. 6 vehicles, horns blaring for escort. Idiots or desperate. Their noise lances curtain. Infected pivot as fleet, lock on to fresh note. They storm ridge, swarm trucks, engines stall, maybe fuel starved. Screams, brief, then cut. Sound source extinguished, but damage done. Horde path realigned straight toward us. Barrow looks to Hollis. Decision instant. Initiate fire grid. Fuel we hoarded becomes lines of gasoline lit by road flares, circle outer berm. Jets of flame burst. Heat whooshes skyward. Infected hit burning moat, stumble, ignite, yet still press. Flesh sizzling. Odor sickly sweet but not graphic. Some collapse, others climb over, bodies dampening flame. Breach inevitable. I climb tower scaffold with Barrett suppressed 308, long barrel heavy. Pick targets, legs first to slow climbing masses. Jenna below fires crossbow, recovering bolts where possible. Ruiz and Allison deploy propane noise mines tossed outside gaps. Blasts draw clusters to sides. Minutes bleed like hours. Zombies atop others, bridging firebreak with own carcasses. One screamer emerges, jaw unhinged, sound knifing air beyond curtain range. Men clutch ears, some infected behind renew surge at this pure beacon. Klein sprints across yard with syringe box. He grabs flare gun, loads high-vis round. Fires at screamer, flare lodges in chest, burning magnesium. Screamer flails, shriek warbles, pitches low, then dies. Nearby infected disorient, unable to locate new sound among white hiss. Gap closes, but lines still push. Battery power steady but not infinite. Barrow signals fallback inside inverter hall, reinforced doors. We retreat stepwise. Solar mirrors used as shields reflect morning glare. Bright flashes blind infected but offer no barrier. Inverter hall swallows 50 of us. Others wedge into maintenance tunnel that channels beneath access road. Doors slam, steel beams slide. Inside hum of high voltage, gyroscopic whine. Hall built for radiation-hardened servers, sealed tight. Good for now, tomb if siege lasts. Air heavy with ozone. Kids cling to parents. Quiet returns except for distant thud as infected bodies batter doors. Barrow consults Klein. He proposes low-frequency resonance through tower speakers tuned to vibrational nodes that disorient auditory nerves, possibly drop infected into stupor. Risk, collapse tower. Feedback may rupture eardrums inside. Vote passes unanimous. Try. Technicians route inverter output into subwoofer coils repurposed from rail speaker cabinets. Countdown 10 seconds. We cover ears with packing foam, cloth, hands, switch thrown. A growl pulses through concrete, deeper than thunder, felt in sternum, not ears. Lights flicker. Outside, pounding halts mid-strike, silence. We wait 5 long counts. Barrow cracks service hatch, peers. Infected lie strewn, twitching. Inner ear scrambled. She gestures go. We pour from hall, moving among stunned bodies. Some attempt crawl, orientation lost. Hollis orders no noise. Finish only if necessary. We slip to vehicles sheltered inside yard. Engines start, white noise still playing but volume down. Convoy exits south gate, steering past fallen infected. None give chase, many clutch heads, moaning low. First vocalization we've heard. We merge onto interstate. Southbound lanes open, map route to Camp Irwin. Solar tower fades in mirror, still humming resonance. Infected on ground rise slowly, stagger opposite direction, sense of hearing crippled. Advantage temporary, but we gained hours. Hollis radios quarry frequency. Mercer never left Sloan. He copies weak but clear. He notes smaller swarms deflected by our earlier decoys now drift towards silent desert. Sloan quiet for now. Sun climbs. Kids sleep in cargo beds. Dogs pant, unmuzzled at last. Klein checks volunteer vitals. No lesions, no fever. Early injection works. He drafts dosage for rest once reagents replicated at Fort Irwin Labs. Road sign reads, needles 70 miles. Past that, open Mojave and chance for organized refuge beyond. I lift recorder. Convoy Lima leaving Ivampa, treatment discovered. Sound remains both weapon and weakness. If you find this log, remember, silence buys distance, noise buys control. Use both. We are proof survival still breathes beyond the thunder. I click stop. Wind through cracked window smells of creosote after rare desert rain. Somewhere far north, cities crumble in echoes. But here, wheels roll, voices whisper. And a heartbeat, never named aloud, drums quietly on inside every chest, unheard by the tide that hunts only the loud. The disaster is not finished. Neither are we. That's all for now. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more unsettling creepypastas. Your support keeps my channel alive. Until next time, stay quiet, stay vigilant, and trust nothing, not even the silence.